Welcome, Scorpio, to your in-depth monthly astrology overview and zodiac forecast for May 2026. Going to share with you the big themes of the month ahead first, then on screen, Scorpio, your event chart. As we come into each month, that always provides an intriguing backdrop for the whole period. I'll then go through the influences frame by frame to give you a clear picture of what you can expect in terms of your energy, work, relationships, or finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel, and a very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive, but please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. There's a lot going on right at the start of the month for you, Scorpio, and particularly around the relationship sector of your life. But it doesn't have to be only in a personal, romantic context. It could be all sorts of connections. And rightly, you're wanting to be heard. And if you don't feel heard, it can be much more amplified, the sense that something isn't quite as you want. But there is the potential as the month goes on to get the dialogue going, to be heard more. And in fact, a reboot around certain interactions can really come to the fore at the time of the new moon of the 16th in your opposite sign of Taurus. So that's exciting. Also, your traditional ruler Mars is in a part of its journey through Aries where it's shrugged off the shroud and misty draining vibe of Neptune and the restrictive energies of Saturn. So you may find that your vitality is stronger as you come into this month. And if you're keen to make some changes or improvements to your financial situation, I'm going to share how that can work out well for you in week two. But there's a big shift as the month goes on for sure. We do have the energy developing in the sign of Gemini, which is very much to do with where things can evolve, perhaps in a very transformational way. But if you are someone who wants to do more with your resources, perhaps with a business idea, if you're more entrepreneurial, it can be a very exciting last 10 days of the month. So on the screen now, Scorpio, is your event chart. And the reason why things can be a bit tender around relationships is that on the first, a full moon in your sign, where the moon is in its full, so it can be very sensitive, is squaring up before it reaches the opposition to the sun with your modern ruler Pluto. Now, Pluto's right at the root of your chart and urging you over the years to come to be really in touch with how things feel. And if there is someone that you're attracted to at the start of this month, where there really seems to be a strong magnetic pull between you, but also a simpatico in terms of your emotional worlds, Venus is linked to Pluto is very helpful to you. But the moon in that square to Pluto suggests it may be with a person you share your home with, could be a family member, a boss, a line manager, perhaps a colleague, as well as a relationship. If you're not feeling something is as good as you want, you could be just feeling really unsure of what to do. However, it's true that Mercury's linked to Chiron just at the very start of this month. There's a great chance, if it is work-based, to think carefully or to talk to someone who perhaps can view your situation from outside and give you their input. Also, your traditional ruler Mars is in a very vigorous link with Jupiter at the start of this month. Now, that's great for your energy. It's where you put it. And with Mars in the sixth house, he can be more sacrificed in there, but Jupiter's in a way pushing you to be more adventurous. So you could resent it a little bit if you've got a very dull set of demands that are difficult to escape from. But then on the third, Mercury moves into the sign of Taurus, joining up with the Sun. Even if there has been some tensions from the full moon on the first, I think Mercury can help you to be a bit more detached in processing what's been discussed, or perhaps finding it easier to hear what other people are saying to you. Fast forwards to the 16th, we have a new moon in Taurus, your sector of related, but it's a new moon that's very positive for you because Mercury is aligned with it. which is going to help that flow of communication. But also, the moon in Taurus is exalted. So, if you have a connection with someone that feels safe, nurturing, but also down to earth, I think that's something you can really appreciate that much more. Now, it is true that Mercury then makes its way into the sign of Gemini and has an electric connection with Uranus. Don't be surprised, therefore, if around the 17th you start to have a series of brilliant, imaginative, and innovative brainwaves. But then Mars plays catch up, moving in to replace Mercury in Taurus on the 18th, and is going to be there for 6 weeks. And if a relationship issue, not necessarily a personal relationship, requires you to set your boundary a little firmer, Mars will certainly help that. If you're single, Mars moving into this area will give you more confidence to take your own destiny in your hands and be more proactive. Now, Venus is going to be moving on the 19th into that ninth house, which Jupiter occupies, and that will give you the desire in an existing relationship to really get in touch with your personal truth. It could, if things have been struggling, give you a nudge to be more escapist. But I think if you travel in the latter part of this month, the link between Venus and Mars could set up an extremely intriguing encounter. And when I say travel, you don't necessarily have to go that far, but just change your routines, do something more off the cuff. That spontaneity could lead to a fated connection with someone that really makes your pulse race. However, we do have the Sun moving into Gemini on the 21st, and he too is going to link with Uranus. If there's something you're not enjoying in your life, and it could be the way you earn money, the eighth house can be about shared resources or long-term finances. I think the sun's application to Uranus could get you thinking, along with Mercury's recent link, about what you could perhaps do differently, or if you've got resources that could be repurposed in a bit of a different way. But just to say, as Mars does penetrate deeper into the sign of Taurus, he is going to be squaring your modern ruler of Pluto. So that fourth, seventh house energy suggests the tension that came up at the start of the month could reappear, particularly if it is more family or emotional based. Maybe someone isn't being as attuned to you as they should do, and your frustration about that could be quite powerful in that last phase of the month. But then that brings us to the blue moon, which occurs on the 31st. The full moon's in the sign of Sagittarius, and the sun is in Gemini. So for you, that is making sure the ins and outs around your resources are working well. But it's also a lunation that does link in a quincunx with Mars in your sign. And Mars in that seventh house could see you thinking a lot about balance, but desire around relationships. And the eighth house can be about where we're attracted to someone in a very sort of mesmeric way, but also we need to be aware of what we're being pulled towards out of desire, which isn't necessarily aligned with our higher purpose. And I think Venus is going to be connecting with Jupiter early in June in the most stunning ways. So, if a relationship from that full moon, from the very first day of this month, the new moon, doesn't really resolve what your issue is, do have faith that if you did move on, a new possibility could emerge early next month for you. It may be a new friendship, it could be a new job, but you can connect to people who will appreciate you. So I think a lot of the story of this month, Scorpio, is about whether you feel seen or heard, but particularly around your connections to others. It's not so much relationship, it's just feeling valued. And that's a very, very positive thing to become more conscious of. I'm going to summarize those four areas of energy, work, relationships, and finances next. But just to say, I've reduced the price of my personal horoscopes so you can buy one but get three. So that's three for the price of one. The one you buy is your life roadmap report, which will help you to understand the patterns that are played out in your life so far, but also help you to get a more intimate understanding of your identity. The free one is the free one's your 12 months transit, and also your draconic, your soul karmic analysis. They're both free. Why? Because I realize people are feeling the pinch, but also because I've been doing this a very long time and I truly want to share astrology with as many people as I can. Please see the link below for more. So if you've yet to watch your Uranus in Gemini 84-year cycle video, Scorpio, that's on the screen. If you've yet to watch your Mars conjunct Saturn 28-year cycle video on the screen. If you'd like to work with me directly, please see the link below and check out my testimonials. And if you've yet to sign up for your free daily horoscope, buy it to your device each morning for your early day celestial pit stop. You can see that below too. So to summarize, this really is an important month for relationships. But I think if you do decide to move on from one that isn't working, it's for the right reasons. But you could get closer and more invested with one that is going well or with someone new in a way which can really surprise but delight you. When it comes to your professional situation, I think if you are prepared to travel for your work or do something that's fresh and different or retrain in some way, that's very good. Saturn in the sixth house suggests that you do need to make sure that whatever job you are doing, you're being as methodical and also concentrated as possible. But having Saturn in the sixth house can have an impact on our physical energy. Mars supports that because he's now got through the enervating link with Neptune and the difficult restriction of Saturn. So I actually feel that you're going to spend the first half of this month actually a lot more energized than you have for a little while. But when it comes to that neat romance, Venus initially being in that eighth house in a link with your modern ruler suggests if you have that connection at a soul or deeper, just knowing it's there for you, it could go from strength to strength. Have a great May, Scorpio. Thank you so much for joining me and see you again.